Good evening. Welcome. So I know this may not be the ideal place that you wanted to spend your Tuesday evening, but I think after the end of this presentation tonight, you'll be happy that you did. My name is Michael Mandel. I'm one of the BCom faculty members. So you received an email from me yesterday with the first semester toolkit reminding you of this presentation. There are a number of assignment sheets that are being circulated. So even though your BCom instructor may not be here this evening, they will know that you were here because hopefully you will have signed in. So make sure you do that. I'm really happy to present to you two former BCom students who are now our lead technical preceptors, and they're going to deliver this presentation to you tonight. So I'll let them introduce themselves, but just know that the semester does end. You get through the first semester at Eller, and you're stronger for it. So without further ado, I give you Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm a senior majoring in MIS.
I'm Luke, a junior, also majoring in MIS.
And we are going to have a fun workshop. All right. So we both took BCom, wouldn't say experts, but questions, feel free to ask. We both been through BCom, so it's good to kind of shake our brains, so you know what to expect. It seems scary, but I promise it's really not. All right, this is just kind of an example as to what a good slide is. So you're highlighting keywords, nice image, it's clear, 70% of professionals say presentation skills are critical to career success. So you will use this beyond Eller, so it's fun to pay attention. All right, today we're going to go over how your slide should look from the visual standpoint, some technicalities to keep in mind when you are creating your slides, as well as just some presenting tips. All right, so slides, you want to make sure that you have a theme. If you will notice, these slides will look exactly the same from beginning to end. You want to have that for all your presentations, including case comp. Use readable fonts that are easy and common. If you use them to turn in assignments, that's a good key. Make sure it looks professional. Don't use like the weird chalkboard ones or like the kitty ones. And use legible font. In a presentation that has this big of a screen, clearly you can probably see any size, but just keep in mind that it may get smaller, so just pay attention to the size of your font. You won't have that much on your slide, so you can feel free to get bigger with the fonts. All right. Negative space is good. They want to see white space. A few bullet points is good. You don't need a lot of information on your slides to drive home your point. So stick to small bullet points, have a lot of white space. It's not bad. It's good. Everything you learned today, professors want to carry over into case comp. So when you're creating your slides, keep that in mind. Be professional, be concise, and remember to just highlight important words. It's a good, quick, easy way to make sure that they're paying attention to exactly what you want them to see. So like we saw with the 70%, you can highlight that, really drive that home. It's easy, fix to do. So this is an example. So you're highlighting both. Some people say red is bad color. Feel free to use it. But you know, some not. So this is another one that's showcasing white space or negative space. So as you can see, there's not much on the slide, but this is a good slide to have. It's making sure that they're paying attention to you, the presenter, because you're the one who's supposed to be giving the information. So your slide does not have to have a bunch of words on it. Make sure that it's simple, easy to read, a little cow.
So on your slide, you definitely want to include images, graphs, simple to look at, and kind of drive home key points that you're trying to make. When you're looking for images, you want to choose the highest quality ones you can find. So usually you're going to be searching for them, some sort of image search. Try to look for the resolutions, which should be in the detail of the image. One thing you want to do is click on the image you're going to search for, have it take you to the full page version, and save that image. That way you get the highest resolution. See, this one is a little fuzzy. Kind of looks much better. Bear in mind that as the screen gets bigger, your image is going to get fuzzier. That's kind of the way it goes. Make sure you cite images and be aware of copyright concerns that are associated with them. If you're not sure whether you can use an image, whether it has fair use, err on the side of caution. Try to use sources like Creative Commons that let you pull images that you have a right to use, because you want to make sure that you're not stealing anyone's work, and make sure that you do cite the images that you take. Here's an example of the slide. In white space, a little bit of information, and then clear images that were high resolution when they were taken example, what not to do, right? So bad font, we mentioned that earlier. Very bad background for the graph as well. So you want to keep things simple and clear to understand. This is much easier to view and get information from than this is. As far as aesthetics go, we want to keep visual effects to a minimum. And video does look really good when it's done correctly. Make sure you test your videos before you put them in a presentation. Just make sure they work. And test them in the presentation as well. Make sure they'll work when you click on them. And make sure you don't end with a question slide. You know, that's a pretty common thing. You might have done it in the past, but it looks unprofessional. Instead, it's best to just ask questions and end on an index slide, which we'll talk about later.
All right, now we're going to talk about some technicalities to pay attention to when you're creating your slides. Important details. Always spell check. Spell check it 1,000 times. It's really embarrassing if you do easy words that you misspell, and if someone points them out, it's super embarrassing. So just have new eyes look at you, ask friends and families. You're going to look at these 1,000 times, and you're going to think they're great, and they probably are, but just have other people check the spelling. As you can see, our names are on the slide right here. Makes it easier for the audience to know who's speaking. If they have questions later on, they know who to address. So make sure it's clear, legible font. When it switches from names. You can see the Eller logos on there. Super cool with the A. This is good for case comp. You can have their logo on the side. You can also use logos as a slide tracker if you want to get fancy. It's up to you. Just make sure, like Luke said, have a good resolution logo. It's super awkward if you have a company logo and it's blurry. It's not fun. Flow is key. Make sure that your presentation progresses in an easy, understandable way. You don't want to confuse your audience jumping around. So make sure that you understand it. Anyone who doesn't have common knowledge can also understand it. Alignment is nice and will make it very easy to read your slides. You want all the bullets to be on the exact same row. So as you can see when we switch over, nothing moves on our slides. Everything's the same. It's new words, but you can see the logo doesn't change. My name doesn't change. Consistent. Hidden slides are your friends. Use them. This is an awesome tool for case comp. It's kind of in the name. It's just able to hide slides in your presentation. To do this, you just have to right click it and then go to hide slide. It's pretty easy. On PCs, you just do the control whatever, but it's pretty simple. Using them. Hidden slides are an easy way for case comp to have backup information or show your sources if you need to. So this is great for questions. You may not have all the time in the world to go detail by detail over budgets or things like that. So if you've done the work and you think that they may ask questions, put it in a hidden slide. It's super cool to be super prepared. If they ask a question that they're trying to throw you off and you're like, hey, look at that, I already did it. Wow, helps a lot. So just use them. It's easy to do, you just have to right click. So I think my case comp team, we had 10 of them, use 2, but it's nice, it's like a security blanket when you're presenting, so you're ready to go after.
Hyperlinks are also really big. You see down there in the bottom it says visuals, technical, slide tracker that involves hyperlinks. So pretty easy to do as well. Most commonly you're going to be hyperlinking to another slide within your presentation. This lets you jump back and forward in the presentation really smoothly. So if someone asks during a question, or at some other point in the presentation, can you go over something again, or can you expand more on this idea? You can quickly navigate to the area that is perfect for what you're talking about. You can also hyperlink to a web page, which is more common in the real world, I think. This is something you should test again before you present to people. You want to make sure that it works, just like embedded video. Double check the actors you're sending it to and test it in the presentation. Do this, you just highlight the text that you want, the text or other content that you want to make into the hyperlink, and then you click to take you to a new place. Right click it, then select hyperlink, and then either select the place of the document or down below, it will have a place for your general web address. It's also important to use a table of contents or an index slide at the end of your presentation. So you want to take each of your slide names, put them on this page, and turn each of them into a hyperlink that navigates you back to the actual slide of your presentation. Again, you bring this up during the questions phase of your presentation, and you can link back easily to any place that they might have questions on.
All right. You guys can feel free to use videos in your PowerPoints. This is usually just a good idea if there's a complex or confusing topic that you think is better explained through video or at a faster pace than you might be able to. Just be aware of technical requirements as far as making sure it works, making sure it's allowed. If it's not for case comp or something else, make sure you can stop it, rewind. You want to make sure you're only using the part of the video that you actually need, so it's not a 5-minute video, and you're only paying attention to 30 seconds. Use only that 30 seconds. Clicker interaction is just this. So you guys can feel free to buy a clicker if you want. It's not necessary. You can have someone just stand by the computer and click through your slides. But it's nice to have. Some people use it, some people don't. It's up to you guys. So video embedding, usually through YouTube. Just find a video you want, copy URL. If you go in PowerPoint, you just have to click the insert video. I think for Mac it says insert movie, and then you just have to click on a movie from file, save it on your flash drive on your desktop, and then it'll link it to your presentation. Oh, closed it. Ooh. All right. Sorry, guys. Just a quick. This happens all.
This one you don't want to happen.
Yeah. For prime examples.
Good. Positive.
There we are. Alright, so don't do that in a real presentation, but it happens. So that's an easy way to do it. I don't think I personally use videos, but a lot of other teams do. It's a good resource to use, so pay attention to it. This is an example of a video that works. Initiating movement, so you can stop it, you can go forward, you can change the sound on it. So just making sure it works. Don't use this video. But it's supposed to make you guys laugh, you know what? It's fine.
We're all tired.
But yeah, it's okay, it's fine.
Okay, so now we'll talk about visual presentation, the technical side of doing presentation, and just general tips that you want to follow. It helps if you're excited and you think positively about doing these kinds of things. I know that you may not want to or you may not look forward to it. Just try to psych yourself up. It does help a lot. It's very important to practice, as I'm sure this slide emphasizes. Practicing in a group is also critical. You can know your own part well, but the dynamic of working with other people and presenting topics and information together, it's really important that you work well together, flow well together. What I find kind of helpful was you kind of learn your individual part on your own, and then when you come together as a group, you can bring those parts together, and it takes less time than if you have to learn the whole thing from the very beginning. Make sure you stay calm and breathe while you're talking. Try to keep a good pace and stay level, and practice, and you should also practice occasionally. Make sure you focus your presentation on the big picture. I'm sure you've seen these acronyms before, what is in it for you, and bottom line on top. You really don't want to make your audience work to receive information. You want to come over that and make sure that what the points you're making and what you're trying to do is obvious. You want to make it as engaging and informative and exciting as you can. I know some topics are harder to do that with than others, but you want to strive for that. You really want to focus on the bottom line, get the bottom line on top. Like I said, practice and present as a team, and within your group it's going to become apparent that some people are better at presenting than others. You really want those people that have those natural skills, are good at presenting, to go first and last, because it kind of ties the group together. When you're getting ready to present, you don't want to memorize word for word what exactly you want to say. You want to remember facts and not speeches. Try to have the idea of the message you're going to communicate, but don't get bogged down with a bunch of details. Practice your transitions, run through it with your group. Make sure you dress appropriately for the presentation you're doing. Most of the time, in fact all the time, I think, that's going to be business professional. So wear formal clothing. If you have any questions, ask your instructor. I'm sure they'll tell you what to do. You want to speak confidently and use your hands to gesture. They don't do it, but you want to use the hands gesture, but not too much. Too much is bad. It looks like Nixon. You want to practice with the stopwatch and video recorder. Oftentimes, when you see yourself doing something or developing a bad habit when you're presenting, you'll make it easier so you can actually identify it.
All right. Answering questions is a big part of presentations, especially case comp. Prepare for questions ahead of time. It's not like the usual presentations you're used to where no one's paying attention and everyone's on their phones or on their laptops, which some people are. They want to be there. The people, especially case comp, some of them are from the company. They want to hear what you have to say and they're going to ask questions. So just be prepared. Go through your slides, see if anything's confusing, anything that's not in the slides that you would want to know. Just be ready to answer. Don't piggyback. We have one person on my team who is designated to answer questions, and if he wanted to delegate it, he could, but that kind of prevented piggybacking because, say Luke's answering a question, and then I feel the need to also answer the question, but basically I'm just rephrasing what Luke already said. It's confusing and not fun, and it wastes time. So if your teammate already said it and you think you could have said it better, just let it go. If they got the point across, good enough. If you truly don't know, don't make it up. Just say you don't know. Say, I will look into that for you. I will do some research, and next time we get together, I will let you know what I find. It's not the best answer, but it's better than making up an answer, because sometimes they will know that you're lying, and that's not fun, and it's really awkward if they know you're lying about their company. The burden of understanding is on you. If someone doesn't understand what it's saying, it's because you're explaining it wrong, or in, just not in the right way. So make sure that you're doing an easy, simple, just words that you can understand. And if at the end they're like, you didn't answer my question, or I'm still confused, that's on you. So just try and make sure you guys are slowly going through, taking time to formulate an answer before you jump into it. It's the end of the presentation. You're probably nervous still. Just take your time, breathe, and answer the question to the best of your ability. Where to stand? We are not standing in the correct place right now. We should be standing out here. People want to see you when you're presenting. The audience wants to know that you're not staring at a computer screen, that you know what you're talking about. Up here, you're supposed to be standing normal, look comfortable. Don't want to do any behind the back, with awkward arms, look angry. Just be open and have a conversation with them. They want to hear what you have to say. It helps you project more. If there is a desk or a podium in the way, which is good to keep in mind for case comp, just have to move it. If they can't move it, just make sure you position yourself around it. We had a desk in mind and we moved it, and we just had to stand in front of it. So as long as you're making aware of the room that you're in, just ask. It's not awkward. And that's about it. Make sure people can see you when you're presenting. And this is the index slide. Isn't it pretty? So now if there are any questions, we can click on any of those links and they will work. Any questions?
Can you walk them through how to create a slide tracker and hyperlinks?
These are all hyperlinks, and if you see, we're going to take you there. When you're making those, highlight what you want to create a hyperlink on, right click on it, and normally you would say this would be insert hyperlink, but since there's
Create a new slide.
new slide,
New slide, yeah.
not that.
There you go.
So, link it to a place in the document, and if I want to link it to the agenda, kind of gives you a preview of what it's going to look like or where it's going to take you, which is helpful. But you know exactly where you're going to put it. Hit OK. And then you probably want it to be that color and font. This is horrible.
Yeah, you have to change the slide design.
Do I?
Yeah. You can just put that against a darker background. It's not area at the bottom.
What do I do?
Just move the text box over the darker area at the bottom. There it is.
Oh, there we go. See? So you want to give yourself time to design science too. That's also really important. You don't want to rush that. There we go. See how that works? And this is what is referred to as slide tracker. You're not going to link every slide in one of these, but kind of the bigger picture points that you're breaking your presentation into. So, visuals. If you want to link to a web page, similar process. We'll do this real quick. Insert the address down there. And then hit OK. Everyone get it? Importance know how to do. Google is tricky. Google is your friend too, as you know everything was. If you forget it, people have insert copyright, insert a head.
Maybe show them how to do, I'm throwing things at them. Do a slide tracker using smart art instead of text.
I think it's
You got this.
I already closed out the PowerPoint, so. Pick whichever one you want. So you can make like the 3 different texts there. And then you just have to write, like do it on the image, not on the type of text here. And then you can hyperlink. And put it wherever you want. And then you can mount. And then you click that. It'll go to that. And this is a good idea to kind of, smart art is a good tool to use to spice up your slides, but not make them overbearing and too chaotic and confusing. So feel free to use them. We use them a lot on my team. Mandel's a big fan of them. So feel free to just have that tool in your little toolbox.
They also work well for slide tracking.
Yes.
So I'm not really familiar with fonts. So you said sans serif fonts. Is Times a sans serif font or not?
I don't know, but Times would be acceptable.
Okay.
Just basically anything you, like you said, anything you would turn an assignment in with, fine. You really just want it to be readable.
Okay.
And you want to keep it consistent.
And staying away from those like elementary school ones or like cursive or anything that would like confuse it more.
I'll learn to do symbols.
Make it like all symbols. Be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this.
So Times is a serif font. I would stay away from that in a presentation.
Okay.
Do you all know what a serif is on a font?
It's
It's
going to
a
tell us.
little, I'm going to tell you. Good job. It's a little decoration on the letters. It's a little hook on the T and the L. And sans serif doesn't have those little embellishments. So serif fonts are usually used in documents because in theory they help your eye track across the page. But you have less text on a slide, so you don't really have to worry about that type of readability on a slide. So go with the sans serif. You fit more into.
Okay.
Well, I learned something new today.
I taught you that, you just forgot.
Well, I relearned something kind of new today.
Anyone else?
Would you generally just say stick with white background, or
You can say and do a color background. It's up to you. White looks professional, and it helps. I would, for case I would stick to it, but if you want to like try it out for a couple presentations, more than welcome to. It's easy to stick with like the themes that they have in PowerPoint, but my team, we just made our own. Like we just took images and created the background ourselves. You can do that too, that's always an option. So Be creative, guys. Get excited about your presentation.
So if we have like a target, and we
This
do
would be
red, that would have,
Yeah, you can definitely do red. And then you can have the little like target symbol right there and everything.
a lot of that would be okay.
Just be careful about contrast. If you use a dark background, make sure that you're using a white text or a text that's going to be easier to read. Because when you get to be old like me, and you have a dark background and any kind of color to your text, it gets really difficult to read. And the closer those colors are in tone, the harder it is to read. And for case competition, you're going to have some judges who are not as young as you, and not as young as me. So take that into consideration.
Yeah.
That's where you should include all of your getting slides for the first one.
Yep. So as we will show you these slides right now. So one that you didn't see is the contact slide. So like here's our information that usually you don't need this. This is necessary to like have a slide on this, especially for case conference. They probably won't be contacting you. But if they do want to, you can be like, hey, here's my email address in a nice, organized manner. And this is also good to keep in mind for case comp. They like photos of you for like your presentations at the beginning. It's gonna have like your title slide and all pretty pictures of you, so they know who's talking. And then you can put like your information on too. But just keep in mind that this is an example of a slide. So then it'll be on like the index, but unless you're paying attention, you probably wouldn't know that we have an extra one on there. Yeah.
What is like the balance between like having like a visual picture of your background and having just the normal background?
So like this is one that we actually moved forward instead of just the like people shown in the background. This one, I mean, it has a good amount of bullet points, but it's more so if it's like an important image that you want them to see, and you think it's worthwhile to have on the slide, you're more than welcome to like showcase that, especially if it's, like we said, you don't want a lot on your slides. So feel free to use any pictures you want. All of these are good quality, so you're like, I'm sorry. So they're not grainy at all. Does that answer your question?
Kinda. I was just curious like how many like visuals you have.
Oh, I don't think there's a limit. If it gets excessive and like you're kind of over it yourself, probably don't do that. But like we have the people in the background the whole time, so you can definitely do stuff like that. But I would just play it by like your preference. So especially just keep things on the simpler side is a good rule of thumb for presentations.
So can you talk a little bit more about like what you shouldn't do when you want to make the focus to be the guy who's presenting the slideshow, not in the slideshow itself? You should like a call in the example, but can you talk a little bit more about it?
That how to
This slide, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just a good example of using a picture, and it goes back to the remembering facts and not speeches. So say you want to talk about cattle industry being super important, but there's too much information to put on the slide and it's going to be just overbearing. You can just put a simple picture, and then I will just be telling you all the information myself instead of having it all on the slide. So as long as you're feeling comfortable with that, and I mean that's totally fine to just have a picture on it, but you need to be ready for questions or anything that may come up with the information that you're telling them. So I mean it's a good tool to have. It's pretty cute, you know. Good work for companies. We had Gecko or Geico. So we had it was a little gecko. So that's how the little guy that we had. Yeah.
I don't mean to put you guys on the spot or anything, but I just ran into this issue when I was doing a presentation a couple weeks ago. Do you guys know how to make like a theme that's kind of like fluid, so like the words don't move around a little bit like throughout a bunch of slides? Like you know what that bottom bar that you guys have that has all the hyperlinks on it? I tried to do that, but like every single time I moved a different slide, I wasn't like aligned with my last slide, so it would move a little bit across the screen.
Do you copy and paste it from your slide?
Yeah.
That usually works for, like that's how we did it. We just copy and paste them.
Okay. You guys don't know how to make like an original theme?
If you use, I'm trying to just shoot the actual slides.
Do you?
Oh, thank you.
So you create one of those.
Slide master, make it up, everyone.
And the way you want it to be throughout your entire presentation. And that should keep it.
And you can put, you should put that right on the very, very first slide, so you scroll all the way up. Yeah.
Use it for.
And that way it'll be on all of the different types of layouts that you can do. So, like this is a title of content, and then you also have like a title and two content, where you have two text boxes side by side. Put it on that master one, the first one, the slide master view, then it'll propagate across all those different variations.
Okay.
Yeah, learned a lot today.
So how do you access a given slide like mid-presentation? If they were to ask you a question, do you have to go to your content one and click the hyperlink, or is there a more different way to do that?
If you have a hyperlink to your
I would say do index, and then go from there. So as long as you're having, like, you can choose like 3 different, like, visual, technical, and professional, so that's our agenda. So, like, that's an easy way to just block them up, and then, yeah, you can ask. It's okay if you click around, like, they're not expecting you to be, like, a wizard and have them just, like, pop it out everywhere. They understand that there's, like, technical difficulties, but I would say that's, like, the best route to take.
For the unanticipated questions, absolutely. If you anticipate that you might get a question on a particular slide, like it's a financial slide and the audience might want more information about that, then you can turn anything into a hyperlink in PowerPoint. So if you have a logo on every slide, you could hyperlink the logo to that particular slide. Or you could put a little text at the bottom that says more information, you can hyperlink that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And it's okay to make multiple index slides, right? That's not a big
If
deal.
it doesn't all fit on like one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't all fit on one slide.
Yeah.
During questioning, should we keep it on the index slide or another slide?
I'd say you have it at the end of your presentation, and you can ask questions. And as questions come up, you can go to relevant slides to answer questions.
I think index. Because I would ask for one that you're ready, and it's all great. Right?
When you're like citing images or sources, do you do it on the slide that you have the image of the source, or can you do it at the end, like with everything on one slide?
For this first one, you can see that it's cited right there. The other ones are not cited, so is there a preference that you control?
You can cite it on the slide. Images, it's okay to cite images in the notes. You show them what the notes are.
Shot you there.
And you can see that on that slide, we've also created a comment license. You said that you can use that image. That's
And that's for anyone that's Creative Commons. This is where you can get like the copyright to use the images, making sure that you're using images that don't have a huge copyright on them that you are not allowed to use. And there's also a link to this in the PowerPoint itself, so if you guys forget it, it's in there.
And citing our sources for information, can we just put that on a hidden references slide, or do you guys want that?
So I would definitely talk to your local BCom instructor about how they would prefer that. For my students, I say cite your source on your slide. You see a little, very small text, 8-point font, just so that the audience knows that it's there and you can just make up the information. You can also have a reference slide at the end that has a full citation for each of the sources that you use in the presentation. But your BCom instructor may just say, put the word source that's hyperlinked to your bibliography page, your bibliography slide. Check with your BCom instructor. But you should, I think we should in some way indicate that you didn't just make up the information.
Fair enough.
Call me crazy.
Now's the time.
I have 2 of the sign-in sheets. Where are the rest of them? Actually, I don't know why I asked where they were. We could just bring them up. Any other questions? All right, this is pretty painless, right? Have a good night. Thanks for coming.